Hello and welcome to eBay with Chris. Of course, my name is Chris. And guess what? We did it. We moved to Florida. Check out my new digs behind me. I got this nice brick wall and this green wall. Our house in Florida was actually flooded by Hurricane Helene. So I'm actually sitting in the middle of a construction zone while I'm filming this, but we did find a little corner here. And this will be my new YouTube studio for the next probably a few months while we continue to build out the house. My inventory is on its way to Florida still. It'll probably arrive on the 23rd, and today is December 14th that I'm filming this right now. So we still have about 9 more days till my inventory arrives. In this video, I'm going to show you how I packed up all my inventory, dismantled my racking system. You can see my storage system as it was, and I packed it all up and put it into the U-Haul boxes so that I could ship it down here. And I did a bunch of time-lapse videos, so you can check that out. It is fun. I did interrupt it occasionally with some kind of updates, and I'm also going to give some voiceover, so I'll explain what's going on in the video as we go along. But I hope you enjoy it. I had a lot of fun filming this, and let's get started. This is my inventory. I have to move it from the Seattle area to Florida. And so what I need to do is pack this up and get it into my U-Haul boxes and get it out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here with my oldest inventory. This is my lowest SKU number. Let's see what I got here. SKU number 23004, and my latest SKU number is 29000 something. So I started out with 23,000 and I'm at 29,000 with my latest SKU numbers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these boxes. I'm going to label this first box number 1. And then I'm going to make sure it is stuffed. And as you can see, I have some space here. So from the next box, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to take the ones in the front and put them in the back because that's the sequence. So they stay in sequence. And I'm going to have a full box. Can probably fit 1 or 2 more in here. Like that. And that is box number 1. And I'm going to go ahead and just load it in the trailer like this. And then when I get it to Florida, I'll unload them and I'll put them in sequential order according to the box number, and all of my SKU numbers will remain in order when I do it, assuming I do it correctly. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and put it on time lapse and you can watch me. Wow, I've never worked so fast in my life. I wish I was always this fast and this efficient. Now, the reason that there are spaces in the boxes is because some of the items in the boxes have been shipped out to customers, right? I fulfilled orders out of the boxes. So the numbers aren't exactly, you're not going to find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the boxes, because number 2, number 6, number 7, number 9 might have been ordered by customers. And so they're gone. So there's obviously gaps in the boxes. However, they're still all in sequential order. So the first item in the box that I talked about was what, 23004, not 23001, because 001, 002, and 003 had been ordered previously by customers, and probably actually 005, 006. So they're not exactly in, they're in sequential order, but there's a number of numbers that are missing because customers have ordered those items. So all I'm doing is basically scrunching the inventory towards the front of the box, and then I'm taking the items from the next box, which would be the next items in order, and putting them in the back of the box in order to have full boxes. I don't want to ship a bunch of half-empty boxes. And I'm going really fast here. These boxes are 9 inches by 9 inches by 18 inches long. And you can see I have 2 rows on the rack. So I have boxes on one side and then boxes on the other side. And they stick out roughly about 2 inches on each side. So the rack is roughly 34 inches wide. Now I can fit 4 boxes across in between each of the uprights in each section. I believe between the uprights is 42 inches, but the boxes, when I stuff them like that, they bulge out on the side, so they're not actually 9 inches across. They're more like 10 inches almost. But it's rough. It's 42 inches between the uprights there, so each section is roughly 34 by 42. Okay, so how do you think I'm doing? So far I've processed 64 boxes and consolidated them down into 51 boxes. So I've generated 13 empty boxes. Now I haven't consolidated my inventory for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months at least. In anticipation of this move, I just didn't take the time to consolidate inventory and move things down. But it's working out pretty good so far. So you ready to load some stuff into the U-Haul truck or into the U-Haul box? Let's go. Okay, so these U-Haul boxes are 8 feet by 6 feet. And you're going to say, hey, Chris, why are you stacking it weird like that? Well, the reason is, you'll see it later on in the video, but I need to lay those uprights for the racks diagonally across the floor because they are 96 inches. But the box itself is only 95 inches on the inside. So they can't go straight across. They have to go diagonally across the floor. So that's why I'm doing this weird stacking method. There is a method to my madness here that you'll see later on. Oh, and by the way, I did turn off my store roughly about 30 minutes before I started this process, just to make sure no more sales came through, so I wouldn't lose them during the packing process. So my store is going to be closed for roughly 20 days, from December 2nd today to about December 22nd, maybe December 23rd, depending on when the U-Haul boxes get delivered to our new place. So it kind of sucks, but actually, like last year, during December was kind of a slow month for me. I don't think a lot of people are buying used clothes for their relatives for Christmas. You know, maybe some cool vintage items and that kind of thing, but the stuff that I have for sale, there's not as much demand during the Christmas season for my products. So it'll be okay. I will lose out on a couple $1,000s of spending money, but hey, we got to make the move. So what do you guys think about this so far? You like this video? Make sure you like it, subscribe if you want to see more of my content. I got lots of fun eBay content, as you probably know. But yeah, how are your sales going for December? Is December typically a good month for your products? I know every mix of products is different for every single seller, so I'm curious if December is a big month for you. If it is, please let me know in the comments below, and also tell me what categories you sell in. I'm very curious about that. But for me, for used clothing, December was a really slow month my first year, and obviously this is my second December, and so I'm not going to have hardly any sales this month at all. Actually, last year, November was my biggest month. I had a really great November, and then probably roughly by the second week of December, sales really fell off for me. I don't think people are buying used clothes for people for Christmas typically. However, I'm sure some people do, but maybe Christmas is a really big month for you, just because maybe you have a good mix of vintage toys or vintage clothes or some electronics. So tell me in the comments below, you know, how is your December going, and is it typically good for you? Wow, it looks like I'm almost done with this rack and ready to move on to the next one. Okay, so now I'm going to start working on this row right here. This is the other side of the rack. On the opposite side of this rack, it's empty. We just finished that side. So now I'm going to work on this side. I started getting super hot. It's like 40 something degrees here in the Seattle area, but I was just sweating. So got the coat off, got this on. Also, I've already consolidated a lot of these in the past. Like, a lot of these boxes were getting pretty empty. So I was actually consolidating them as I went along, you know, several weeks back. A lot of these boxes are going to be fairly empty, so it won't take long. We're going to be consolidating a lot, and I'll have a lot of empty boxes as well. I'm going to have to break those down because I'm going to need them in Florida as I continue to grow my business. However, this side should not take as long just because there's fewer boxes and they're going to consolidate really fast into a lot less boxes. And then after that, we're going to break down this rack and put it in the trailer or put it in the U-Haul box. Yeah, so this is the second side or the other side of this rack. As you can see on the other side, it's empty. And with a rack like this, you can probably choose to have one long box inside. In that case, you'd have a box that is maybe 36 inches long. But for me, that was a really long like drawer to pull out in order to find an item that was in the back. So I chose to go ahead and go with boxes that are only 18 inches and then pull inventory from both sides. So again, the SKUs start here on the bottom right as the lowest number, and they progress to the left. And then when you get to the next upright, you go over to the second shelf, which is to the right, and then go to the left to the upright, and then go to the third shelf. And that's how these SKUs go in order on this rack right here. And you can see I'm leaving a lot of empty boxes behind. So obviously at the end here, yeah, I don't show this in the video, but I do break all of those down and ship those to Florida. Okay, here I move the camera so that we have a different angle. You can see all the way down the aisle. And again, I have two sets of these racks, and I have boxes on four sides of them. So actually the four side is not quite full. It's roughly about half full. So I still had plenty of room to grow. But after I consolidate this, boy, I'm probably only going to actually need one set of these racks and both sides. But of course, for growth, I'll have to set up more than that. But I have, like I said, I have 4 boxes per section of the racking, and I have 5 shelves. So I basically have 20 boxes per side. And it looks like down on this row, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I had 5 sections. So I had 100 boxes per side when these sections were full, which is a lot of boxes actually. I end up actually putting roughly 200 boxes in the U-Haul containers. I think that was my final number. Maybe it was like 202, something like that. So yeah, I mean, once I set these racks up in Florida, I can go ahead and go with 5 sections just like this. Put 100 boxes on each side and basically have all my inventory on one section of racking. Now, also another thing is I have these set up so that there is roughly 16 inches between each shelf. And the boxes are, like I said, 9 by 9, but I gave myself another 7 inches on top for inventory to stick up out of the boxes. Okay, it looks like I went ahead and finished out that whole row. So now it's time to break down the racks. And like I was saying, I had these spaced roughly 16 inches between each shelf. And I can probably actually get that down to maybe 14 or 13, possibly even 12 inches between each shelf. You know, sometimes my coats, like puffer jackets and things like that, will stick up 4, 5, 6 inches above the top of the box, but I can probably package those a little bit smaller inside the poly bags so that they don't stick up as much. And instead of having 5 shelves per section, I can actually squeeze in 6 shelves. And you can see that the top shelf was actually probably 16 to 20 inches from the top. That's just because I couldn't put a shelf at the very, very top just because it was so close to the ceiling of my garage in this section. Here I am taking down the uprights here. That's actually the most dangerous part of disassembling these because the uprights, when they don't have any supports, they're likely to kind of fall over and land on your head. But these racks are actually really heavy duty, and I was super fortunate to get these. Some friends and I were offloading all the clothes out of a thrift store that was closing down, and we were just getting all the clothes out of there for them. And then they also said, "Hey, do you guys want these racks?" And I looked at them and said, "Yeah, I want those racks. They're perfect racks for me." So I was fortunate to get them for free. Okay, here I am loading the U-Haul now, and as you can see, I had to put the uprights at an angle like this. They are 96 inches long, and the U-Haul boxes themselves are only 95 inches on the inside, so I had to put them at an angle. Plus, I was trying to distribute the weight a little bit. I had a total of 9 sections of racking, so I split them up and I put 3 sections in each U-Haul box that I used. And you can see that here I am. I put some of the racking shelves off to the left corner there, and then I'm putting boxes around it. And now I'm putting some of the racking shelves to the right back and also to the left back, trying to balance it out. And I have all the uprights in there, but now I'm putting some of the cross members on the floor, basically filling up the entire floor with a layer of metal. And I'm walking across them and stacking up boxes higher and higher and higher to get my inventory in there as much as possible. Now, I bought these boxes from a place called Boxery.com, Boxery.com. I don't have an affiliate link to them. However, just go check them out. They have a ton of box choices. But I was just trying to find boxes that fit my inventory and also fit these racks to make it the most efficient use of the space as possible. And I found these 9x9x18 boxes, and they worked out perfect because I typically squeeze my inventory into poly bags that are actually 10 by I think 14. So the most they're going to be as far as width is roughly 10 inches, and I can squeeze that into these 9-inch boxes. It will make the boxes bulge a little bit, which is fine. And 4 boxes across on each shelf was perfect. It filled up the entire shelf all the way across. Well, what do you guys think? Pretty good, huh? High and tight, as I used to say when I loaded trailers in college. What, 30 years ago, I guess it was. Obviously, I've got more to fill it up. I am concerned about the weight of this. My racks that I'm bringing, I'm splitting them up among 3 different U-Haul boxes, so hopefully they won't be too heavy. But this is the one right here where I'm a little concerned about the weight, so I might find some lighter items to put on the back here and continue loading my inventory into box number 2. We'll see. I got to think about that. Okay, back to tearing down the rest of the rack. Like I said, I tore down 3 sections to put inside that box, and I still have 2 more sections here in this row. So I went ahead and just removed all the empty boxes and stacked them up off to the side, and now I'm tearing down these 2 sections, and those will go into box number 2. Now, I was talking about my concern about the weight in that first box, and I did actually remove roughly, I think it was 2 rows of or 2 tiers of boxes out of that U-Haul and put them into the second U-Haul. So I kind of spread out the weight a little bit with roughly 100 boxes of inventory per U-Haul, and I went ahead and filled up the back end with household personal items that were much lighter than my boxes of inventory. I think each box of inventory weighed probably around 15 pounds. I didn't, of course, weigh each one of them individually, but they were somewhere around that. And okay, here I am. I'm done tearing down that rack, and now I'm starting with the inventory in that far right corner because, again, that's sequentially how they went. The far right corner on this shelf is the lowest number, and again, I go to the left. And then once I get to the next upright and complete that shelf of 4 boxes, then I go up 1 shelf and then up to the 3rd shelf, the 4th shelf, and the 5th shelf, and then I move on to the bottom of the next section. That's how I put them in sequential order. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the full boxes and just kind of stacking them off to the side, and then taking the empty boxes and stacking them further behind that, just to the right, just right off the camera. You can see I have a little stack right there. Later on, after I load up all the boxes, and I don't record this in the video, but I sit down and tear and basically cut all the boxes, all the tape off the bottom of the boxes that are empty, and flatten them all out and use them kind of as stuffing and filler inside the U-Haul containers when I'm loading some of my personal items. So again, I'm just going through that same process. I'm numbering the front of every single box in sequential order, and then I'm moving the inventory from the front of the next box into the back of the box that I'm working on. And it looks like I'm roughly pulling 1 empty box out of every 4 to 5 full boxes. So I'm definitely generating a lot of empty boxes. I think I had enough space here for roughly 300 boxes. And like I said, I only loaded like 202 full boxes into the U-Haul containers. So I generated almost 100 empty boxes, which is actually pretty crazy to me. So that tells me how much consolidation I'm actually doing. Yeah, so basically, every single box is about 1/3 empty on average. So that's definitely an opportunity for me to do this consolidation more often and keep my inventory space nice and tight. It looks like I moved the camera a little bit to cover the video for this last section, and I'm almost done with this rack. Those stack of boxes on the left are actually empty. And here I am starting on the other side. You can see that the far side is empty. And it obviously got colder. It's later on at night. It's dark. This took me, I think I started around noon, and I think I finished this entire process somewhere around 7 or 8 p.m. So obviously this video is a lot shorter than that time span. But again, I'm just consolidating, and I'm moving the boxes off to my side there. That they're full, so I can just go ahead and take video footage of me loading them into the U-Haul container. Again, I'm numbering the front of the box and moving the empties off to the side. This section of racking, as you can see, probably the uprights are only about 6 feet tall. So I do have a shelf that goes all the way up to the top. I'm still able to put 5 shelves per section here. But again, the uprights are only about 6 feet tall in this area. I'm actually doing the final few boxes here where I have a few items that are multi-quantities. And so I just had to kind of throw those off to the side. Like I maybe had one box that had these rain pants, and I had maybe 20 of them, and that just filled up the box. So anyways, I was able to get 5 shelves on these shorter rack sections, but they were a little bit shorter. So I think there was only like 14 inches of space in between every single shelf. But this section actually fit underneath my garage door when it opened up. So it actually allowed me to have a little bit more flexibility in my space. And I'll be able to use these sections in my new garage in Florida as well. So I'm curious actually how much space I'll be taking up with my inventory. My house in Florida only has a 2-car garage, whereas this house in Seattle had a detached garage that could fit 2 cars easily, plus a third one on the side, but the third one didn't actually have a garage door. It was a person door, and it was kind of like a big shop area. So, but size-wise, it would be equivalent to like a 3-car garage. So I'm curious to see how my inventory will fit in the Florida house. But we'll make it happen no matter what. Okay, here I am almost done breaking down these racks, and then I'll be able to finish loading the racks and the inventory into the U-Haul truck, so that's pretty exciting. I don't know if I finished the story about where I got the racks. So a local thrift store was actually closing down, and my friend and I, we went over to clear out all of their clothes. Most of the clothes were going overseas through my friend's business, and we did pull a couple items to sell on eBay, but not much. And in the back room, they had these racks, and I asked them, hey, what are you doing with these racks? And they said, if you want it, it's yours. I'm like, yeah, score, because these are super valuable racks. Okay, I'm done. Now it's time to load up U-Haul box number 2. And as you can see, I'm laying down the longer uprights first, and then putting some of the shelving items in the back left corner. And then I'm starting to load inventory boxes to hold those shelves up. Just kind of stacking them in there. And I do put some crosswise just to try and make the stack a little bit stronger. I think I do those more towards the top. I can't remember if I do that here. Yep, there they are. And that just makes the boxes a lot tighter in the U-Haul container so that they don't move around during shipping. So hopefully when the U-Haul boxes get to Florida, I'll be able to open the door and everything will be perfectly in place, stacked still nice and neat and easy to unload and not dumped all over the floor. But as you can see, I'm putting the heavy shelf items here on the back left and the back right, and then also putting the shelf support systems all along the floor to kind of lay out all the metal on the floor. And then I'm going to stack the boxes on top. Oh, I got smart. Look at me. I got a hand truck and started moving the boxes over 3 or 4 at a time. And that made it a lot easier, a lot faster actually to stack them in there. Grab my hand cart and boom, boom, boom. Look how fast I work. But this system actually worked out pretty well. And like I said, I think I filled up, again, I did 200 boxes. And in the first U-Haul, I put 134, I believe it was. And the second one, the rest 66, something like that. But actually at the end I decided to go ahead and move some from U-Haul box number 1 to U-Haul box number 2, so they were probably even, maybe like 90 in one box and 110 in the other U-Haul box, something like that. At this point I'm pretty much done and I'm ready to give a thumbs up. All done. Well, what do you think about that? Did I do okay dismantling everything and putting everything into the U-Haul boxes? I hope it will survive the move. I'm pretty sure it will. I feel confident about it. I packed them really nice and tight, so it should be a good move process. I'm looking forward to the boxes arriving here in Florida so I can unpack them all and set up my inventory and open up my store again. Again, I will have been closed for 20 days. I have not had any sales for 12 days as of today, and it's going to be at least another 9 days before I can open up my store. So I'm really excited to open it up again and get those sales moving. If you found some value in this video, please like, subscribe, also share with your friends. Put the comments below. What do you think about my move, my techniques? Also, if you want to check out my store, I do have a link below. You can check out my store. Also, if you're curious about the equipment that I'm using in my eBay business, you can check out the Amazon links below. They are affiliate links, and I will get a small kickback on those, but I would really appreciate that. Links to things like my scale, the lights for my photo station, my printer, all that kind of stuff. I have a really great printer. It only costs like $80 or $90, and I love it. So check that out if you're looking for a printer. Great Christmas gift to yourself. So in about 2 weeks, I'm going to share the video of me unloading and setting up my inventory. So make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you won't miss that video. That'll be fun. In the meantime, I do have some updates. I'm going to share like my November numbers and also the things that I sold in the last week before we moved. So I have those coming up in the next few days. All right. Thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks a lot and take care.